And while we came to Huntsville under our own free will, many others in town aren't as fortunate. Since 1848, Huntsville, Texas has been home to the Texas prison system and was home to the very first state penitentiary. This is the Walls Unit, built in 1848 and still in operation today, only blocks from Huntsville's center. It's a place where freedom and captivity are separated only by a 3-foot brick wall. The prison isn't open to the public, and while I do love this show, I'm not about to do anything deserving of a private tour, so to speak. Luckily, down the road, there's the Texas Prison Museum, which is as close as I'm ever hoping to get to being inside of the walls. But just the man to give us a glimpse, museum director and former warden, Jim Willett.
Chet, one of the things we've got here is a really neat model of the Walls Unit. Now, this model is about 35 years old, and it was made by inmates.
Oh, wow.
I worked at the Walls for several years, and I can guarantee you that this thing is really accurate.
It's a lot of detail.
Yes.
But I guess those guys have a lot of time to kill, so they can get it right.
Yeah. But let's talk about where they live, where the inmates actually live. This section here, there's a 60-bed dorm in the bottom of that building where 60 inmates live.
Really?
Yeah. And the other places they live are in these two buildings, and they live in West Building. West Building is the newest building in this prison, and it opened in 1958. So there's getting to be a lot of age on it. That big white building is a hospital. That's their dining room.
And they recreate in the courtyard right in front of it?
Yeah, they recreate in this area here.
Okay. Today, the Walls houses 1,700 inmates who work primarily as auto mechanics in the prison system's main garage. Which inmates get assigned in Walls?
Well, the Walls Unit is made up mostly of men who have been locked up most of their adult lives, but they are not troublemakers. While this unit is great for keeping people inside, as a warden, if you can keep your ladders locked up, you can keep the inmates inside.
That's about
But it is very poorly laid out security-wise, and if you've got, say, 500 inmates out here and they decide to cause a problem, you've got a problem because there's no way to control them. It's open, they can run anywhere. So you have to have people here who are pretty much going to go by the rules.
Another interesting fact about the Walls Unit is that since 1924, it has housed the Texas execution chambers.
The inmates have always and still are executed at the Walls.
Okay, and where does that happen?
That happens in this little L-shaped building right here.
Okay.
This long section of it right here is a cell block. Death chamber is right here. Over in this area is where the witnesses stand. And in the very corner back in here is the room where the executioner operates out of.
This model is the closest look I ever hope to get of the Walls Unit, but the museum has plenty more to look at. The Prison Museum is an incredibly well-done and interesting diversion into the world behind bars. Viewed from many perspectives, the inmates, the corrections officers, and the actual victims. There are remnants of the old days of the prison rodeo, handmade prison furniture. These guys were talented. And handmade knickknacks. Prisonopoly, anyone? There's also prison contraband and confiscated weapons. Like, for instance, these guns, which look normal, right? Except for the fact that they're made of wood. Yep, there have been some elaborate escape attempts here in Huntsville, but no museum artifact is as real or as sobering as old Sparky. Texas's only electric chair, used from 1924 to 1964. During those years, 361 men did what prisoners called riding the thunderbolt. That is, until the electric chair was declared unconstitutional. You might expect a place like this to be sort of dark and depressing, but it's not. It's an educational place that breaks through the mystique of prison and makes it seem more real than ever, making it crystal clear that prison is a place I don't ever want to find myself. They have this mock cell to where you can get in here and really see the dimensions. I would hate to be locked up in a thing like this. Wow, it is tight. Wait. Although the crew might like to see me there. The show.
Get out of here.
What? How'd you get out? I'm calling the warden.
To see the full episode or to get info about how to visit this spot, trip on over to thedaytripper.com.